saved America from World War II with his brains on the additive that he added to rubber after Hitler successfully barred America from his rubber fields and rubber mining access. George Washington Carver is a black man that was accepted by white society. He was friends with future Vice President Henry Wallace. You know, because he was when his parents were he was kidnapped. And he got bought out by a white family. Moved to Iowa, raised with a white family. That white family castrated him. I'm talking about George Washington Carver now. That white family castrated him because they were scared of him. Maybe he might fuck their little white daughter one day. That's some crazy thing about white folks. How the fuck you adopt somebody then castrate them? You can't be. These niggas can never just be good to be good. It's like these motherfuckers just be good with a hook. So he was in good with white folks. Went to the University of Iowa. He was offered lots of money to stay there at Iowa. But one day Booker T. Washington called and said that black people need to know how to feed themselves, and we need to have a community within ourselves. Booker T. Washington was pre-Marcus Garvey. As a matter of fact, Booker T. Washington is the one that gave Marcus Garvey the idea of a Pan-African, the whole Pan-African stuff and take care of yourself. That was Booker T. Washington at first. Booker T. Washington didn't believe in integration. He believed that black people need to build our own shit and have our own economy in our own world. So one day in 1895, he wrote a letter to George Washington Carver. And he said that I can't pay you what them white boys will pay you. I can only pay you $1,000 a year. But I need you to come down here and establish my Tuskegee Institute. And George Washington Carver took the deal. To the point to where George Washington Carver turned down a $100,000 a year job to work for Henry Ford. He was getting offers to make $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 a year. And we're talking about 1900. $100,000 ain't too bad of a living these days. It's not the greatest of living, but it ain't too bad these days. But can you imagine turning down $100,000 a year 100 years ago? That's who George Washington Carver was. George Washington Carver understood that there was a greater need for him that was bigger than money that black Americans needed him for. And he took the challenge. And he took the challenge in spite of the money. In spite of differences between he and Booker T. Washington. George Washington Carver and Booker T. Washington